All right, so now we're going to talk about magnetism. So this is chapter 10, which is still part of unit 3. You'll see that this chapter is going to rely heavily on chapter 9, so hopefully you're comfortable with the chapter on electricity by now. We start off, first section, which is an introduction to this chapter on magnetism, and then we talk about magnets. So you've probably played with magnets before, and you may know that, they have a North Pole and a South Pole, and we're going to see how they interact, what they're made of. We're going to look at the magnetic fields around magnets. So, for example, around a bar magnet. Another example of something similar to, a bar magnet, but much larger would be the magnetic field of the Earth. Just like with the electric field, we're going to see that we can, visualize the magnetic fields with magnetic field lines. And then we're going to look at magnetic forces. First, we're going to look at the force that is going to be due to a magnetic field. So for a moving charge, so you would look at a charge object that's moving in a magnetic field, and that moving object will experience a magnetic force. So we'll see how that works. And you may recall from chapter 9 that when we're looking at current, so you could be looking at a wire that carries current that's going to be moving charges. And that means that there's going to be a magnetic force on a wire that's carrying current. Okay. After that, we look at some applications, and motors and meters are part of section 10.7. And then we talk about magnetic fields that are now created or produced by currents. So this is Ampere's law. So now it's not just looking at the force acting on a current, but now the magnetic field created by a current. All right, so now we're looking at, sources of magnetic fields other than magnets. Something very important is then the concept of induction. So you may have heard of, induction used in like stoves and whatnot. There are many, many applications of this. So we're going to talk about induced voltages and Faraday's law of induction. And one application is going to be transformers. So again, one of those things that we use, very, very often. And then finally, we'll talk about the difference between so AC and DC, alternating current and DC current. So it is a very important chapter with a lot of important concepts. And again, lots of applications here to your everyday life. You can see that you have probably used a lot of these concepts without realizing it. So I hope you enjoy this chapter, even though, there is a lot packed in here. And after this one, we're going to move on to the last chapter of Unit 3 that's going to cover light.